Steelers versus Vikings in Ireland, and I'm here in Dublin, and I'm going to give you my biggest keys to the game for the Steelers to pull out a Week 4 win here on the Locked On Steelers podcast. I'm Chris Carter. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Steelers, your daily Pittsburgh Steelers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Steelers podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carter, bringing you your daily dose of all things in the Pittsburgh Steelers. As always, you can find the show on your favorite podcasting apps and on YouTube. Like this video if you enjoy it. Subscribe to this YouTube channel to get all of your daily Monday to Friday episodes, as well as our bonus content. We thank you for making us your first listen every day because we're your team every day. All right, Steelers fans. I'm here in Dublin, Ireland. You can tell that by the Crossover Thursday episode. Thanks to Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings for doing the hosting duties while we're getting used to my new surroundings here. Shout out to our friends Sarah and Barry for letting us stay with them. But we gotta get ready for this game, and I think that there's some key elements to talk about here that we're gonna break down a little bit over time, and it kind of relates to some of the things the Steelers do need to improve the most, and part of that is their third down defense. Right now, if you look at third down defense in the NFL, the Steelers currently rank 29th in third down defense. They're allowing teams to convert 46.3% of their third downs. That's not good at all. It's pretty terrible. And it's contributed to a lot of their problems. We really saw that poke its head a lot in week 2 against the Seahawks, especially where Sam Darnold was getting out a lot of pressure. But then it continued in their week 3 win last week, where they were just letting Drake May get away with a lot of third and long conversions, or at least setting up fourth and shorts, where they didn't get a stop on fourth and short until the end of the game when they had to do it to win the game. And listen, I'm a person here that's saying, hey, a win is a win, and it's not even just a win. I think they did enough to win that game. They earned that win with the turnovers they created. But if they want to be this great, elite, historic, whatever you want to call it, defense, they have to be this a lot better on third downs. Fortunately for the Steelers, they're also playing one of the worst third down offenses in the NFL. When you look at those standings, the Vikings have been pretty bad on third downs. The Steelers ranked 29th in third down defense. The Vikings ranked 28th in third down offense. They're converting third downs at a rate of 31.4%. And with Carson Wentz at quarterback, I was wondering what was it like for them last week against the Bengals, who are one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Granted, their third down defense is actually tied for the Steelers at 46.3%. So they're both sitting there towards the bottom of the league. And against that third down defense last week, the Vikings converted just 33%, 4 out of 12 of their third downs. This has to be an area where the Steelers win this week. The Bengals defense is bad, and it's going to be bad. The Steelers defense hasn't been great early on, and in fact, at times it has been bad. But there's a lot of potential for this Steelers defense to figure things out. Why? Because we've seen the veterans starting to come together. We've seen them starting to gel and put their plans together. We've also talked about this week about how this is a different defensive plan. The Steelers are being more aggressive. And with being more aggressive, there's a lot more things to figure out and how to bring that aggression at the right times while still getting the finer details of when you set a blitz, having the right coverage behind it. When you're doing different things, you're making sure that you're tightening up on the details of those newer things. Even when you're a veteran, learning how to do that with other guys, especially with all the newer faces on the team, and also, as we've acknowledged, with all the injuries the Steelers have been able to have taken on defense. Now, I'm full disclosure. I am recording this. If you're in Pittsburgh, like 4:50 a.m. Friday morning. So like here in Dublin, Ireland, it's like it's in the late morning here right now, but we got a lot of stuff we want to get done. And the reason we're doing a solo show this Friday is because of the Dublin time, 5-hour time difference. Everyone's adjusting to this. I was able to get in here a little bit earlier in the week. Because of that, I didn't want to put that pressure on anyone else to have to deal with my time schedule. So that's why there's no Jenna, no Josh, no Mike. No, we're just doing this show solo today to get us through it. But again, I do think that this Steelers game is an opportunity for the third down defense to figure all the things, all the details they've been working on. This is a week to show your progress before your bye week in week 5. This is your chance to say, hey, we are going to be that much better of a defense, and it comes against a Vikings offense that's struggling with their own backup quarterback. And and you need to be able to capitalize on those opportunities. Part of what the Steelers are doing with all these different things, this aggression, it's not just out of nowhere. It's part of what Terrell Austin, Mike Tomlin, and the Steelers defense is trying to do to free up TJ Watt, more than just flipping him around from the left to the right, or vice versa, or moving him around. They want to make it so that you have to consider everyone a threat on the Steelers defense. And when we got the chance to talk to TJ Watt on Monday earlier this week in the Steelers locker room, he kind of went in on that. And I asked him about all the extra layers that they brought into the pass rush, the coverage, everything they're doing. And he talked about it being because a lot of teams are going to max coverage. And I think that's going to play a relevant point in this game. Here was TJ Watt when I asked him that question, and listen to how he answers some of the follow-up questions by other colleagues of mine in Pittsburgh media.
I think it's just trying to deal with the max protection that we see each and every week now. So we're just trying to do a bunch of different things to keep offensive structures off balance. And if teams are going to do one thing, we're going to try our best to be able to make them less effective with it.
What's the chance? Like, I think you had 3 opponents in a row run pretty lopsided away from you. Is that frustrating? Do you feel like you need to do anything about it, or is it just part of the game?
Part of the game. Obviously, I'm trying to make it effective on the left. Try to go to the right from time to time, but I just feel more at home on the left right now. And if it makes teams one-dimensional, that should be something that we can weaponize.
Got a running back who's coming off a pretty good game, one of the best receivers in the game. How crucial is winning on first down so that you can not be, allow them to get you in tough situations on second and short, third and short?
It's huge. I haven't really been able to break down a lot of film yet. It's still early in the week. But yeah, when they have a dynamic receiver like that and a running back who's running the ball like he is, I mean, we just need to do our best to be able to get them in those third and long situations. But when we do get in those third and long situations, getting off the field, just too many long drives the other day that just we're playing way too much football as a defense.
Those third and longs and fourth downs, the finishing that you were talking about earlier, is that what's missing there?
Of course. I mean, getting off the field when we're in those situations is crucial, and it can be demoralizing as a defense, especially when you don't have those turnovers to be able to kind of hang your hat on to be able to say, all right, at least we got off the field at some point. But yeah, driving the distance of the field, drive in and drive out is absolutely unacceptable.
Make no mistake, defensively, this could be the key to the game. If the Steelers are able to limit the Vikings in their third down offense, it's gonna force them into situations that are gonna create more opportunities for those turnovers. Now, again, they got the turnovers last week, but as TJ Watt's saying, hey, we're not planning on trying to rely on that every week. We're just trying to find ways. We're taking advantage of opportunities when they're there. We got to win on third downs as well. I think something that could be encouraging for the Steelers defense. And again, when TJ Watt talking about like, hey, they hadn't had time to review tape yet, that was literally Monday in the Steelers locker room, the day after the Patriots game. So like, if you're watching this thing, what do you mean? That was literally, I recorded that several days ago. But when it comes to what the Steelers are doing against the Vikings, I think that one thing we saw in progress last week, they were able to limit / take away what the Patriots wanted to do with their ground game when it came to the running backs. They were able to force fumbles. They were able to get stops. The biggest thing was they let Drake May escape a few times, and that was the majority of the Patriots' run offense last week. That's progress. They were able to bring heat last week. They got 5 sacks, TJ Watt getting 2 of them. That's progress because we hadn't seen them getting home a lot. Now, they have to show more progress in being able to win those third and longs. And the fact is, they were also forcing more third and longs last week. And that's another big part of this because against the Jets and the Seahawks, they were forcing less. Like, remember against the Jets, they kept allowing 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 1s. And that allowed for Justin Fields' mobility to become a big factor on those third downs. Then against Sam Darnold, they did force some third and longs, but not enough. And on the third and longs where they had like the Patrick Queen blitz that didn't get home. That led to the Seahawks being able to escape there. Last week they forced more third and longs, and they either allowed them to convert or let them get into a 4th and short where the Patriots were confident to go for it. This needs to be a week where the Steelers are saying, okay, put the foot down. Don't let the third down defense be the Achilles heel in what you're trying to do. And if you accomplish that, as TJ Watt's talking about there, that can lead to a lot more victories for the team and set the offense up pretty well in a matchup that's also going to be very crucial in this game. Now, TJ Watt talked about max protection being a factor. We talked with Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings yesterday. Go check out Crossover Thursday if you missed it. But one thing he noted was with the Vikings tackles, it's very likely that the Vikings won't try to overload and max protect against the Steelers because Christian Darrisaw, Brian O'Neill, two very good veteran tackles in the NFL right now. Those are guys that you're expecting to win. And with no Alex Highsmith this week, we are waiting to see if Joey Porter Jr. and Deshaun Elliott return. They were limited in practice on Wednesday. Again, I'm recording this very early Friday morning. Or Thursday. I'm recording this very early Thursday morning, excuse me. So I won't see this will be without seeing the Thursday practice report or the Friday practice report as I'm talking to you now. So I won't be able to say officially what Joey Porter Jr., Deshaun Elliott will be able to do, but them being limited in the first day instead of do not practice is a good sign for their return. If they do return, it'll offer some more flexibility in the secondary, but we do know that Nick Herbig is going to be the starting OLB on the opposite side of TJ Watt. I think that if you're the Vikings, you're trusting Darrisaw to go if he's going up against Herbig to win quite often. If you're the Steelers, you're saying, "Hey, Herbig, get what you can there." But the key is if TJ Watt gets one-on-ones with Brian O'Neill a lot in this game, which I don't think they will. I think they will try to leave TJ Hawkinson back to help him protect a little bit. But if he does get his one-on-ones, that's going to be a key matchup for the Steelers to win. If TJ Watt can win those one-on-ones, that's going to be huge. If he does get double teamed, that's where the Steelers pass rush has to pick up. The Vikings look like they're going to miss Donovan Jackson, their starting left guard. We talked about with Luke Braun about their center potentially being out. This has to be a week where that pass rush, that third down defense starts to put it together and make it harder for Carson Wentz to convert on defense. And then that way it'll be easier on Aaron Rodgers going up against another aggressive defense with Brian Flores and the Vikings to get their wins. We'll talk more about all those matchups here next on the Locked On Steelers podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carter. Stick with us. We still got a lot to discuss, including our Week 3 picks. We'll do that next here on the show. But first, I remind you that this show is brought to you by Square. Square is, of course, the service that makes neighborhood spots run. There are certain businesses that truly make the neighborhood feel like home, whether it's the local sports bar packed on game days, the coffee shop that knows your order by heart, or the corner deli that's been serving your community for decades. These are the places that bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. Spending money there doesn't just support the business, it supports the people behind it and the community around it. And Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/lockedonnfl to learn more. But before you do, go support your local favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square, see you in the neighborhood. We're also brought to you by DoorDash. It's almost that time of the week, and it's time to look back and crown this week's MVP for the Steelers, who delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order, these players are in position to deliver when it matters. So let's get into it. For the Steelers, it was Cam Hayward who delivered in a big way last week. Not only did he record his second straight week where he tipped a pass that was intercepted shortly afterwards, he did that at the goal line and then forced another goal line turnover, while also recording a sack and multiple pressures in the game. Cam Hayward has been the Steelers' defensive captain for many years and a big face for the team, and he delivered in a big way in leading the charge of being part of 2 turnovers and a 5 turnover day against the Patriots. He was there to deliver when the pressure was on. He came through, no hesitation, no delay, and now the Steelers hope that he can continue a hot streak, as he goes on a streak for the Steelers defense. Just like Cam Hayward delivered for the Steelers, DoorDash delivers for you on Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you can save every Saturday on your order, stack it up all season, and you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday, keep the streak alive, fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms and conditions apply. Promo period through November 18th. Welcome back to the Locked On Steelers podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carter. We continue our show here today. We will be getting to all the predictions when it comes to the Steelers. But as always, we have to go to our picks here. And again, unfortunately, no Jenna Harner with me today, no Josh Taylor as well. But we are happy to get to our predictions here for the Locked On Steelers podcast. Thank you for everyone who joined the Locked On Steelers Pick'em League, where we were doing our picks. We still have 3 people tied for first place, and actually have 4 people. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Y'all, Jenna Harner is tied for first place in the Locked On Steelers pick. And look, she can beat me, but she cannot be beating all of y'all at the same time. Shout out to our first place people, D School 86, Ray Ethan, and the real Lisa Simpson, who continues to be in first place. They all have records of 39-9. And so does Jenna Harner. Great. Awesome. I can't stand this. How is Jenna Harner beating everyone? We cannot. We got to be better this week. We got to be better with this. I got to be better this week. I'm 33-15 on the year. That's 6 games back. I got to start my climb back to the top. But shout out to Jenna Harner. She's in first place in the Pick'em League. I am so disgusted with myself. But we got to get this in. So let's start going over our picks for the Pick'em for the Pick'em this week. This week, as always, this week. We go over our odds, ends, and lines. Those come from FanDuel, the #1 sports book in America. You know what? Since even though this is the Friday show, and technically if you're watching this, you've probably seen Thursday Night Football. I'm recording this at like 5 a.m. Pittsburgh time on Thursday. So I'm going to give you my Thursday night pick. I'm going the Seahawks. Excuse me. They're on the road against the Cardinals. The Seahawks are 1.5-point favorites, and I'm going to ride with the Seahawks, particularly because of the James Conner injury. I don't like that for the Cardinals. I think that the Seahawks can take advantage of that and get the win. We'll skip the Steelers Vikings picks because that's what we always do last. But let's dive into those Sunday 1 p.m. games in the Pittsburgh time zone. It's so weird being 5 hours ahead of Pittsburgh. I've been behind Pittsburgh because I've been to the middle part of the country. I've been to the West Coast, but it's been a while since I've been out of the country and out east. So it's kind of wild to be doing this. But anyways, let's go to Eagles at Buccaneers. The Eagles toughed one out last week against a good Rams team, but this Buccaneers team is starting to experience some injuries at the wrong places. So give me the Eagles, who are 3.5-point favorites. I'll take that and the points on FanDuel. That's my pick there on that one there. This might be the easiest survivor pick of the season coming up. It's the Saints at the Bills. The Bills are 15.5-point favorites. That's an insane amount for the spread. But give me the Bills and the points. I don't care. The Saints are that bad, and the Bills are that good. They should run it up on these guys. Now, last week, the Browns pulled off a major upset over the Packers. I did not have the Browns doing that. But I also didn't make the Packers my survivor pick, and I felt so good for doing so. I made that the Colts last week. But give me the lines. They're not losing to the Browns at home in Detroit. I think the Browns are still tough when they're at home because their defense can bring it. But give me the Lions. They're 9.5-point favorites. They'll win by more than that, I think, this week. Now, this next matchup is going to be very interesting because the Titans have been a disaster. They've been 0-3, and granted, they were going to be rookie first overall pick quarterback, lots to fix up in the Titans. They're 7.5-point road underdogs against the Houston Texans. But the Texans are in trouble too. They've started off the season 0-3. I thought this Texan team would come out a lot harder than they did, and they have. They just got rid of Chauncey Gardner Johnson. I just butchered that entire name. Excuse me. This is part of the dust that we talk about when we're on the road. We're kind of just coming off the hip here. But Texans defense was supposed to be a lot better than it has been, and this offense was supposed to be a lot better than it has been. Give me the Texans, but give me the Titans to cover a 7.5-point spread. I think the Texans the Titans find a way to get close, but the Texans finally get on the board and get a win. Next game, Chargers at Giants. Chargers 6.5-point favorites. Supposed to be the week of Jackson Dart. He's coming up. But give me the Chargers with their defense going up against a rookie quarterback. I think this will be a rough week for Jackson Dart going up against them. And even if Jackson Dart comes in and wows a little bit, that's Justin Herbert. He's been playing pretty well. I think he'll find a way to get the win. Next up is the Commanders. I saw that Jaden Daniels was a limited participant in the Wednesday practice. Again, we're doing this before teams practice Thursday and Friday, so we don't know how it's going to play out. But the way the Falcons looked last week, it doesn't matter. I'm taking the Commanders anyway. I think they're a better team than the Falcons. They got slaughtered. That is the Falcons got slaughtered by the Panthers last week. The Commanders, even if Jaden Daniels has to rest, will find a way to win this game. The Commanders are 1.5-point favorites. Give me that as well. They'll win this one. I don't think it'll be close. Panthers at Patriots. Panthers are coming off a big win, but they're going to New England, and the Patriots want to rebound after last week's really rough performance. I know the Panthers won by a lot, but give me the Patriots. I think their defense will cause Bryce Young some more problems. I think their offense will do just enough against this Panthers defense, and they'll find a way to get the win. Colts at Rams. This is going to be an interesting matchup. The Colts have been red hot. Indiana Jones, which I got to say, Danny Dimes to Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is such a better nickname for that guy. That's actually pretty good, but won't be enough because the Rams defense will bring it. I think the Rams and the Colts hot streak. They're 3.5-point favorites at home. Give me the Rams and the points. I think that Matt Stafford handles his business there. Next, we go to Jaguars at Niners. This is an interesting matchup because the Niners are really hurt up. I haven't seen the status of Brock Purdy, but Nick Bosa's out for the season, and the Niners deal with other injuries. Give me Jacksonville, who I did not have winning as many games as they have won early this season. I think that they're going to be a problem. They're 3.5-point underdogs. That's my upset of the week as far as how things should play out. I think the Jaguars find a way to win on the road in San Francisco, for that long West Coast trip. But I think that they'll be a more complete team this upcoming Sunday. One of the games of the week, maybe the game of the week when you look at it, the Ravens at the Chiefs. The Chiefs have come out the gate struggling, but so have the Ravens. Both teams really need this win this week, which is crazy to think for Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. But give me the Ravens. They're 2.5-point favorites on the road in Kansas City. But man, if the Chiefs found a way to pull this off and the Steelers were able to win this week, Steelers would be a 3-1 to the Ravens 1-3. That would be kind of cool for the Steelers to have a 2-game lead this early in the season. Now, again, the Ravens have played some of the teams the Steelers still have to play, like the Bills and the Lions. So there's plenty of space to make it up. But the Steelers getting an early lead in the division wouldn't be all that bad for them, but I don't think it happens. I think the Ravens find a way to bounce back this week. They find a way to beat the Chiefs on the road. Then you go to Bears at Raiders. The Raiders are 1.5-point favorites in this game, but give me the Bears. I was actually impressed by what I've seen when I saw them last week. I think that they're starting to figure some things out. Give me Chicago on the road beating the Raiders. Packers at Cowboys. Man, the Cowboys are going through an injury. CeeDee Lamb's going to be hurt in this game. The Packers coming off that really bad road loss to the Browns. I don't think they continue with it. The Packers are 6.5-point favorites against the Cowboys. Give me the Packers. I do think the Cowboys cover, but I think that the Packers do enough to win this game. And then we go to Monday Night Football, Jets at Dolphins. The Dolphins are 2.5-point favorites, and I gotta admit, I don't know how I feel about this game. I still have to see Justin Fields' status for this week, but give me the Dolphins. I thought that they've shown some improvement since their disastrous start to the season. But them being at home, I think this is a game that they should win. And if they don't win, there'll be a lot more Mike McDaniels talk for people about the coaching carousel that could be coming this offseason. But there are your week 4 picks here in the NFL. It's time to talk Steelers Vikings. We'll do that next here on the Locked On Steelers podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carter. Stick with us. We'll go up that next. But first, I want to remind you this show is also brought to you by Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride with more IIHS Top Safety Pick awards than anyone else. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Back here on the Locked On Steelers podcast, I'm your host, Chris Carter. We continue our episode here, getting you ready for Steelers Vikings Sunday. Remember, it's a 9:30 a.m. kickoff. If you're in the Eastern time zone, it'll be 2:30 here in Dublin, Ireland, where I'm here. Also, if you're in Dublin, Ireland, and you see me, don't feel afraid to say hello. We always appreciate meeting up with fans of the show and fans of my work at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette as well. So shout out to everyone in that who has already hit me up about being here. I'll try to see as many people as I can before the game Sunday. But looking at this game and where the Steelers, we talked about the third down defense. Yesterday, we talked a lot about the offense. So meshing those two for a solid performance in international in an international setting is going to be big for the Steelers. As Luke Braun brought up, the Vikings have never lost an international game, which is a weird record to have, right? But this is an opportunity for the Steelers to clean up a lot of the things that have plagued them early on this season. For one, we talked about the third down defense. They're going up against one of the worst third down offenses in the NFL, and with their backup quarterback, and with maybe a piece or two missing on the offensive line. The Steelers need to be a defense that's aggressive, but also the offense. This needs to be a week where they're a little bit cleaner. They're able to move the ball a little bit more consistently, possess the football. They need to win on third downs, and this will be against a tough front. This is a tough defensive front for the Vikings. They've known how to bring it, early this season. Whereas they're not blitzing as much as the Steelers. They are a team that's going to be bringing the heat. They're going to be challenging things. Javon Hargrave is questionable for this game early in the week. We know how good Javon Hargrave is as a former Steeler. But how he pairs with guys like Jonathan Allen up front, the Vikings linebackers, they'll be looking to bring heat. And then how they match up with the Vikings secondary within their receiving game, that's going to be key. But I think one thing that could be key for the Steelers this week, and we talked about it with Luke Braun yesterday, is use the tight ends in this passing offense. Arthur Smith, you love to use your tight ends, get them involved. The Vikings do not have big guys in the secondary, nor linebackers that I think can run with their big guys. And if the Steelers can get them and can come out on first down and don't even let them play action. Bring out 12 personnel, but split them out wide. Have your two wide receivers line up outside, or put one wide receiver in the slot, DK Metcalf on the outside, while Pat Freiermuth lines up on the outside. Maybe put Jonnu Smith or Darnell Washington in another in between situation where you move them around. Maybe you make them the X. And if you do that, you're moving guys around. You're having them force them to do that. That could put the Vikings in some tough spots. If you're saying, hey, choose whether you want your linebackers to have to cover these guys in space or your cornerbacks to have to stick with these bigger guys. I think that needs to be a key for this game. Arthur Smith, Aaron Rodgers, they need to key up the tight ends in this game. We talked about how they needed to key up the running backs last week to force the Patriots linebackers to cover in space. And we saw a little bit that with Jaylen Warren catching a pass out of the backfield in the game-winning drive. Kenneth Gainwell getting involved, getting his first touchdown last year. This needs to be a week for the Steelers tight ends to show why they're keeping 4 of them, why they emphasize 12 personnel and 13 personnel so much this year. This can be a week to capitalize on that. And it won't, I'm not saying that should lead to them scoring 30 points against this Vikings defense, but I do think it can help them be more efficient on third downs, more efficient throughout drives, and set up easier situations for the Steelers to move the ball. Because as we talked about earlier in the week, and I showed with my film study earlier this weekend in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, go to post-gazette.com to see some of my film breakdowns. But I talked about how when you looked at the Steelers, when they ran the ball last week against the Patriots, who were the number 3 rushing defense in the NFL going into that week, you saw a huge difference in drives where the Steelers tried to run the ball on first down after they had thrown the ball already the play before on that drive, or if they had run the ball, if they were running the ball was the first time they did it on that drive, or they were running the ball on first down after they had just run the ball on the previous down. When they ran the ball right after passing the ball, they averaged 4.5 yards per carry on such plays. When they ran the ball either the first play of the drive or coming off of another run play on first downs, they were averaging a third of a yard, not 3 yards, a third, as in 1/3 of a yard on 6 carries. They cannot afford to have that be the case in this game. This needs to be a week where you see the tight ends get involved in this passing game early on first downs. Use that to your advantage. Put them in situations that forces the Vikings to have to work against a mismatch, where I think is an advantage for the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers. Do that on first down, and then use that to set up your 2nd and 5, your 2nd and 6, your 2nd and 3s. And then when you're in that situation, then you can put them in situations. Hey, are we going for play action and trying to hit you with the bomb because we have 2nd and manageable, which means we can have 3rd and manageable, or are we running the ball right down your throats? I think that is something that could be huge for this Steelers team. And if they're able to get that in this game, I think it'll go a long way. Right now, the Vikings run defense isn't as top tier as the Patriots was numbers wise last week. They allowed the 13th most rushing yards, but they are top 10. They're 9th in yards per attempt allowed. The Steelers have to be ready to take advantage, to go at them and to put their offensive line in an advantageous situation. They also need to be ready for the Vikings to try to get after the quarterback. So don't put yourself in predictable situations. Don't just run on first down a lot without setting up with the pass. Set it up with the pass and set it up with different passing looks. Work your tight ends. Still try to get DK Metcalf involved, because again, his size advantage also factors in to the chance to take advantage of the Vikings secondary. So with that, I think those are my key factors here. A, win on third down on defense, force the Vikings to have to make some big plays on offense to beat you and limit those opportunities, get those turnovers when you can. But if you win on third down defense, it's something you haven't done a lot this year, and it can help you a lot. Get the tight ends involved on offense. Doing that, especially on first downs, can help the run game. Can let everything feed off of that, and be able to help your offense be more efficient than they have been. And then finally, the big thing, in my opinion, is when you look at this team, you can't allow their playmakers to take over on offense. Even though Carson Wentz the quarterback, you still got Justin Jefferson, you still got Jordan Addison. Jordan Mason had a real big run game last week for the Vikings. TJ Hawkinson's a really good threat. You know, all those guys can be playmakers. If you can limit their big playability, one, if you're limiting third downs, you're saying, hey, that means you're having to move the ball with some explosive plays to get you yards, because you're not having long drives where you're just picking us off on third and longs throughout the game. And if you're able to do that and keep the big players from being explosive, creating the explosive plays, most likely your defense is making it happen, and you're keeping your defense fresh throughout the game. And then if you compound turnovers with that, you can have your best defensive performance of the year. Combine that with hitting the tight ends, being efficient on offense, and I think the Steelers team can do some serious damage against the Vikings overall. And with that, it's not going to be clean. The Vikings are going to have their own successes. They're good. I think they're a well put together team. They have a lot of things going for them. I think the Vikings, similarly to, not as good, but when I've talked last year and I said I think the Eagles were going to beat the Steelers last year, I said because, hey, I think their trenches, they are built the way the Steelers are trying to build to be. And I think similarly, the Vikings have some elements of that on the offensive side of the ball. Darisaw and O'Neal are very much the coupling at offensive tackle, the way the Steelers hope Jones and Faltano can be. And that's something that's going to be a disadvantage to the Steelers, because I do think the Vikings have that in their back pocket. They have veteran players in the trenches that are more seasoned and more they have their chemistry better because they've been able to play together longer. But even with that, I still think the Steelers find a way to win this game. It's going to be a weird game. International games often are. But give me the Steelers finding a way to win. Let's go with a really weird score. Let's go. This isn't that weird, I guess. But we're going 20. Steelers win 26-19. There you go. That's a weird score for you. But 26-19, I think the Steelers find a way to push the ball throughout this game. There's some mistakes that they make along the way. I do think the Vikings will get a turnover in this game, but I think the Steelers get more turnovers. Their third down defense does improve. They find a way to win. They advance to 3-1, and they get to the bye week trying to get guys healthy and getting to face the Browns at home for what will be just their second game at Acrisure Stadium by that time of the year. Which is kind of crazy to think going into week 5. But there you have it, your breakdown, your prediction here from the Locked On Steelers podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carter. Thanks again for tuning into us all week. Again, I'm here in Dublin, Ireland. We'll see how quickly I can get up a show after the game Sunday. Maybe we'll be able to get it up during the day, local time in Pittsburgh, since it's a 9:30 a.m. show. A game in Pittsburgh. Maybe we can get it done early enough for a mid-afternoon or late afternoon showing of the Locked On Steelers podcast after the game on Sunday. But either way, we'll have our breakdowns all here for the Locked On Steelers podcast. Again, thanks for tuning in. Remember, you can get the show on your favorite podcasting apps and on YouTube. Like this video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to this channel to get all of our Monday through Friday episodes. You can follow me, Christopher Carter, on all my social media accounts. I'm at Carter Critiques, whether you're on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, wherever. You can also read my work in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette by going to post-gazette.com. See you here Sunday after the Steelers take on the Vikings in Dublin, Ireland.